The data is in. Normies worship Saturn. Here's why. Normies worship Saturn. Not consciously, of course. It's obviously an inadvertent style of worship, but they deeply correspond with the Saturnian energies, especially this rise and grind culture, this debt slavery world we live in, the 9 to 5. It's all very Saturnian in its elements. And a lot of you already pointed this out because I did a scientific poll, got 316 votes, and 76% of you already agree that yes, normies do indeed worship Saturn. Okay, soyence proves it. It's a data point, and you could probably replicate the exact same data yourself. Okay, so, but I hate grind culture. I hate striving. I can't stand yuppies because I know that this is not actual happiness. I know this is an actual fulfillment because I grew up surrounded by people like this. Okay, I revealed, yes, my father died early. Yes, I grew up with a single mom, but that's not how everybody else in my family grew up. Okay, they all grew up in McMansions. I just got hamstrung by life early on, so I didn't get to live in a McMansion like all my cousins did, but I was surrounded by people like this growing up. Yuppie strivers, Saturnian enjoyers, and I know a lot of people from the outside look at wealthy people, rich people, people of status, and think, geez, if I was just like them, my life would be so much better. I would be rich. I would be happy. I would have everything, and my life would be wonderful. And I know it's cliche, but I've witnessed it myself. I'm not just saying this from a place of ignorance, from a coping perspective. I know this. I've seen it all the time. And these people, I mean, I see a lot of beach bums, part-timers, easygoing types of people having a lot better life, a lot more hair on their heads, so to speak, and just generally a more interesting perspective. Because you really are, it's a bargain with Saturn, the 9 to 5. You're trading in your time for stability. I mean, it was a lot easier, of course, for the boomers to do this. It was much more structured and Saturnian in their time. The millennials and the Zoomers, we're going to be a lot more Dionysian in our style of being in our life. It's going to be way less structured. It's going to be way less set out for us. We're going to have to be more adaptive than they were. But there's still a lot of millennials who want to be Saturnian, and I call them the echo boomers. Okay, there's the true blue millennials, like the people here. Okay. And then there's the echo boomers. The echo boomers are basically, they're leftover boomers. They want to be boomers. They have boomer values. They want to rise and grind and strive and climb up the ladder of the society, of the society, and they want to be somebody in the eyes of others because they still think that matters. They still think that's worthy. You're worthy to be judged by your peer. Okay, you don't have peers anymore. We don't live in an actual nation or an actual country or an actual civilization. We live in an economic trading zone where money is all that matters, not status. People don't care what you do anymore. They only care how much money you make. It doesn't, you could do anything. As long as you're making more money, then that's the value call. Okay. For instance, I was at a boomer moot the other day. I don't know if you know what a boomer moot is. A boomer moot is basically when a bunch of boomers get together and they start to discuss their portfolios, their upcoming trips, their property values, things like that. And I was at this boomer moot, and all they were talking about is, it was kind of a competition of what their kids did. Okay, my kid's working 3 jobs, and he has this amount of that, and he has this much money, and he works 12 hours a day. And I was just sitting there like, that is awful. That sounds terrible. I think the bragging rights should be how little amount of hours you work a day. All the rich people I know, the actual rich people, not the striving rich people, but the people who actually made it, they don't work. They recline and watch their ducats copulate and make more ducats by themselves. Or they hire people to make ducats for them with their ducats. They ducat max. And they recline max. It's the people who want, to need, to strive to get there, to their Saturnian overlords, who want to strive. Now at this boomer moot, I've been to boomer moots in the 90s, and I've noticed that the boomer moots have changed. Because when I was younger, boomer moots were a lot different. The boomers who mooted up, they were more eclectic in their class. I remember there would be stockbrokers, lawyers, finance people, mixed in with working class people, with painters, with masons, small M masons. We'll get to the masons later. And they would all kind of be together, hanging out and boomering it up, just drinking absurd amounts. And all us millennials would be barred off in the upstairs, playing. But it was a lot more eclectic for sure. And back then, the boomers seemed to have an infinite amount of friends. It was just so many friends showing up all the time, just endless cycles of people coming in and out. Just massive community. Now I've noticed even the boomers are starting to suffer from this modernity, and then they're not suffering. I mean, they're embracing it, and they probably love it, because all they talk about is, and then these new boomer moots is, which boomers made it and which boomers didn't make it. Because some boomers, I mean, they're going to be taken care of with their Social Security, but, some of them aren't as, I don't know how, if you didn't make it as a boomer, I don't know how. Okay, we got 1% boomers watching this show, this channel. 1% of boomers watch. Okay, the boomer waffin. I think those are skewed stats, though, because you also have to take into account what type of boomer is even watching YouTube, so that's already like a off stat anyway. But we got the 1% boomer watching, boomer waffin watching. I was looking at my stats, by the way. 50% of my viewers are American. 50%. America! Woo! Get some! Yeah, America! Okay? I mean, what can I say? America is... I love the First and I love the Second Amendment. What can I say? Now, next up is the Brits. We got some British. Oi, mate. Oi, bruv. In it. We got me ancestors. Watch it. Okay. What can I say? That's the homeland for me. That's the motherland. That's the old country. So I am glad that there's some Brits watching. And then next up we had Canadians. Okay. You guys couldn't even be second on the list. You had to be 3. Not surprised at all. I mean, you guys don't like me to begin with, so yeah, okay. Funny enough, interestingly enough, 4th up on the docket was the Germans. The Germans, ja. Guten Tag, wie geht's, mein Bruder? Ja, Panzerjäger Soldaten. Los geht's. which I'm happy. I'm happy that there is a Euro audience for my stuff. I really do. And the Germans are awesome. Interesting stats. More people from India watch my show than people from France. Somebody asked me my opinion of the French the other day. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. More people from India watch Hyperborean Knowledge than from France. Okay. It's not that I don't like them. They just don't like me. Okay. And believe me, I understand. So, where was I? The Boomer Moots. Boomer Moots are different now, and it's kind of like a Saturnian ritual where they all get together and boom out and talk about their portfolios. And I just chimed in. I took one for the team. I'm like, look, I'm a millennial. We graduated in 08. There's no jobs. And then we had this fake coof. And then we had the recession that we're in now. We're in like our third recession. And I'm just like, I don't care about any of this stuff. And then the alpha boomer, like the pinnacle boomer, the boomer, because boomers only care about how much money you have. Like this guy was physically very unremarkable, intellectually dry. But of course, because he had the most money, he was the alpha boomer. And he just looked at me and he goes, bad things happen. Bad things happen, you know? Sometimes your nation just gets taken over without a single shrug. Bad things just happen, okay? Bad things happen, man. But yeah, some of you guys had some good takes on my poll. The English Times said, yes, that's why they wear watches in terms of normies worshiping Saturn. And I 100% agree. There's something Saturnian going on with watch maxing. I don't trust watch maxers. I don't trust Rolexes. It's very Masonic. It's very absurd when people are flashing around their watches, and when people get their watches stolen, I just don't care. I mean, why are you harboring? You should be gray manning in today's world. You should be gray maxing, not watch maxing. But again, if they have a watch, they are projecting to other people. By the way, English Times, great guy. And everyone should go check out the English Times YouTube channel. He's got a good X as well, and he's trying to revive English, which is basically English without any Latin in it, and it's cool. It's interesting. I don't think I could ever retrain my brain to only think in Germanic words for the English language, but for the English tongue, that sounds Latin too. I don't even say I can't even do it. For the English speak. And yeah, he's a cool guy. Great guy. But this watch maxing, I mean, you're just walking around, you're showing everybody that you're a slave to 9 to 5. You have to structure your day. What time is that? I can't do that. I never could. Schedules, planners, the daily planner. That was a humiliation ritual in school. Does anyone else remember the daily planner? What the heck do I have to plan when I'm 8? What am I, Machiavelli at 8? I have to plan my day out. I have to see who I can overcome. No, I never wrote in my plan. And my longhouse enforcer always had to gripe on me and harp on me that, oh, you're not using your planner. You should be using your planner more, Brynor. It's like, no, why do I have to plan when I'm 8? I should be planning my next hockey game or my next, skateboard session and what video game I'm playing that night. By the way, I've been getting shamed, getting normie shaming tactics for playing games on my channel. And look, I understand. But you have to remember, this is YouTube. And you're on YouTube. And there's video games. And you can play video games. But there's a difference. There's normie games, like COD. Okay? and there's schizo games. Now, Shiv obviously is on the border, but it's more entertaining. Okay, you guys want me to play Dwarf Fortress? You guys want to watch me play Dwarf Fortress and watch my dwarftism? I could do that. I could go full schizo games, okay? We could rim it up. We could play some Rim World and rim it up. You guys want to watch me play Hearts of Iron 4 and take over Barbarossa? My Barbarossa game is unmatched, okay? Stalin will be begging to be air-vacked out of Moscow by the time I'm through. Okay, so I think, yeah, there's Normie Tube, there's Normie YouTube, there's Schizo YouTube, and of course for gaming, there's Normie games and there's cool Schizo games, or you can play even a Normie game in a Schizo way. You know, there's the possibilities are infinite. That goes for everything basically. So, the Normie shaming tactics, look, people like it, and I like it too. So it is what it is. You know, I don't have to pretend to be somebody I'm not. I enjoy playing video games from time to time. I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm pro leisure. This is another thing against these Saturnian worshippers is they hate leisure, they hate time off, they hate vacations, they hate any type of labor bargain where you can have negotiation against these megacorps that are so much more powerful than they used to be. I hate that stuff. I love leisure. I love naps. I love vacations. I love chilling. And you know what? That's a very Norse thing to do. It was said that it was said that they were extremely lazy people and they'd only really go and do things when they needed to get enough gold or thralls to do things for them. And if they weren't raiding to go get that stuff, they were playing games and hanging out and enjoying their lives. Thrall culture, rising and grinding. I've been there. I mean, I remember days I worked 10 hours in a mine and I'd come home and for some reason I had in my mind that I should do some barbell training. Okay. So I'd work 10 hours and I'd come home and I'd do like a barbell, like a 5x5 barbell session. And then I'd go to sleep and then I'd do it over again. And I did that for a long time until eventually I realized, why am I doing this? Okay, if I was a boomer, maybe it would make sense, but I'm a millennial. I'm not. There's no magical rainbow at the end of all this for me. Might as well just enjoy what I have left. And I've always kind of been like that too. Like I had that rise and grindy phase, but before that, like if I had money, I had some money saved, I just quit my job and go on a trip. I didn't care. I didn't really think about investing in my future. I didn't really think I ever was going to have a future. I didn't think about that at all. So if I ever accumulated enough, I would just move on to the next thing. And I got a lot of flack from boomers for that. And you know what? I don't regret it at all. I don't regret that at all. You know, I could have saved all this money and invested it and done all this things, but when you're in your 20s, should you be grinding or should you have experience? And I know millennials got shamed for wanting experience, but you're only young for a very small pocket of time in this life. And then you're old for a really long time. I met up with a buddy of mine from I haven't seen him in 15 years. I was like, hey man, I called him sir. I called him Mr. and I called him sir. And he kind of got upset by that. And it's like, okay, we're in our mid-30s now. We're not exactly spring chickens anymore. You are a mister. You are a sir. He's like, no, we're still young. Still young. It's like, dude, you got crow's feet. So do I, man. We're not young anymore. Okay, my crow's feet weren't as bad as him. I don't know. I got some like Dunedain blood. I got some Dunedain blood in me, so maybe that's helping a bit with the crow's feet. But yeah, Saturn has taken his toll on us. There's a really good TV show. It's called Dark. It's German made. The only show on Netflix I've ever enjoyed. And it's about time and time travel and cycles and trauma. And it's very Saturnian in its themes. And the main antagonist of the show basically says there's only one observable God, and that's time. And who's that? Saturn. And it's always with us, and we always carry it with us, and it's always plucking away at us. So yeah, even the various Saturnian aspects of this dimension are baked into the reality that we live in. But I'll always remember the line, Gott ist Zeit. God is time. It's a very stark and true observation. But again, sacrificing the now for the future. I mean, I understand the value of it, okay? You know, you want to collect more Timbits in the Timbit experiment. Okay, in Canada, you guys have like the chocolate experiment, the cookie experiment. We get the Timbit experiment. How many Timbits can you say? I just took the Timbit right away. Say what you will say about me and me being low IQ or whatever. I just took that Timbit right away. That's kind of what I'm like in life. I'm just taking the Timbit in the now because I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow, guys. I don't know. You know, you never know. I've seen things just evaporate in life for people. So I would say enjoy the now. Grinding. I mean, and you know, there are people out there, and I tip my hat to them. You know, if you have a job, if you have a career, if you have a corporate career, if you have a 9 to 5 that you actually enjoy, good on you, man. That's something that's rare. If you actually enjoy it, that's something to have pride over. For me, I always hated it. I never liked it, hated it. I worked in the only kind of job I actually really, funny enough, enjoy, and this is kind of funny, was working for an environmental NGO because it was just so easy. And these NGOs, they don't do anything. We had like 2 hour beer lunches. Taxpayer dime, by the way. Thanks a lot. Okay. Just to let you know, taxpayer, your money goes to NGOs. So girls who call themselves scientists, because that's what these girls were calling themselves, they all call themselves scientists, while they meme around in the forest and take samples. They're taking 2 hour beer lunches on your dime. And I don't know how many hundreds of these NGOs are existing right now, but the only way they run is through government grants because they don't make profit. There's no bottom line. There's no business model. You are the business model. The business model is the taxpayer. Thanks, Saturn. Okay, that's another Saturnian thing. The Saturnian matrix. Taxes. You feel it when you pay your taxes. And I felt it when you paid your taxes for me to work with these NGO chicks. Honestly, that was a great job. Went in the forest, but then eventually my conscience kicked in. You know, my whatever leftover conscious I still have, because Some people probably are just smarter than me, or just better, more Machiavellian. I was thinking about this the other day. How many guys put Zimzer in their bios and Zimzer on their Indeed profile? Absolutely not agreeing with it at all, but knowing that that's going to give them the edge. I bet you there's hundreds of guys, thousands of guys out there, tens of thousands out there just Zermaxing. And you know what? You got to ride the Kali Yuga. Some people got to ride it. You know, they're left-hand path Kali Yuga rider. They're a Vamacharian, and they're Zimzering their way to the top of the corporate ladder. No, I couldn't do it. I just can't. It's obvious that I can't to them too. So, but yeah, these Saturnian NGOs, and of course, you know, I love you guys. Sure, yeah, unconsciously, they're not consciously worshiping Saturn. They just correspond with the Saturnian elements of the days now. Some people can do it. I can do it. And this NGO, look, they're fudging the numbers. They basically told me, look, we're trying to make it look like global warming is happening. We're trying to make this happen. So, you know, when we do a water sample, just make sure you round up the number for how much sulfur and how much this is in the water. Just remember, make sure to round up. Okay. So I worked with scientists before. I was kind of their writer. I was kind of the jack of all trade guy. You know, when something needed to be physically done, that was me. Yes, and then some people in the polls were saying, well, I'm giving the normies too much credit. Roderick, I know. And if zombies, Alex6925 wrote, can a zombie worship? I know, I believe me. But I don't think, again, they're not doing it consciously. This is just kind of the power of the age, I shall say. And the power of the age is Saturnian, but I do think it's changing a lot. At the same time, again, I was saying it's becoming more Dionysian. People are going to be more flexible. We got shamed as millennials for valuing experience over, you know, saving and investing and resources and blah blah. You know what? I am a true blue millennial in that sense, that I don't care about that. I enjoy my experience. And you know, with this channel too, I've really, I mean, I never thought I'd get to, what are we at, 7,000? You guys are awesome. And I'm just glad that there's people out there who resonate more than I ever thought would. You know, my goal was like, I'm just going to put out just my most niche, bizarre beliefs. I'm going to throw it out in the pond. I'm going to throw it out in the ether. And I'm going to see if anyone resonates. And people do. And it's great. Again, the other thing is that people know. The thing is, though, people are starting to know that I know, that they know, that I know, that they know. And so I do get harassed a bit more out in public. You know, like Gen X Masons, they just flashed me the I sign. They just put this 666 over their eye and give me a shit-eating grin and smile at me when I meet them, or even sometimes when I drive by. And you say this is a schizo take, but I mean, this is what my eyes saw, and I mean, they actually did it to me. And I know I have a weird, there's some people who watch this and they are Masonic, or they're from Masonic families. All of them are, a lot of people here are like the black sheep of their Masonic family, and they just didn't resonate with what was going on. I feel that in my core. You know, I think another Saturnian element is bribery. For people like us, especially like younger millennials and Gen Z guys, hookers and blow just don't, it's just not a bribe for us. We just don't care. Like the whole Masonic mind matrix and the Kabbalists, like trying to glue the nefarious elements of your society together with hooker and blow. I don't think it's going to work for much longer. I mean, for me, I just don't really have any interest. I mean, I've done blow before, and honestly, I don't know how people don't have the self control just to like throw their lives away with that stuff. Like, I don't think it was that great. It wasn't my thing. It kind of felt like I just drank like 10 cups of coffee or something. Like it is like, and it's a related drug to caffeine. So it wasn't all that for me. And it's like I'm not I don't care. And then like I don't care about skanks. I just don't. You can never get me to be interested in a skank. So that whole model, like you guys have to up, like I want a castle. Like if you guys want me so bad, give me a castle. Like give me a castle in the Hebrides and just give me that, and I'll just stop and I'll be left. No, I can't be stopped really. Because once you know, and then they know I know, and they mock me for it. They make fun of me. A lot of them watch. I think a lot of them agree a lot with what I say, but they're just locked in. So to them, it's just kind of like a form of entertainment, and they get some kicks out of it, and they probably get some insights too, which is I get it. Like sometimes you're just born into that, and that's what you're brought up into. But a lot of times, the worst people are the people who Mason Max. Like, and I kind of can see it now. There's a lot of like guys who have a midlife crisis and they're like want a Kabbalah Mason Max and they want to get what they want out of that because they, again, very rise and grindy type people are drawn to it. Grinding the grindstone, if you will. And these Mason Maxers, they're got like a pot belly. They're like, there's a lot of froglets involved in masonry for some reason. The froglet phenotype seems to correspond deeply with the Masonic messaging. Because I think it's like you can't get what you couldn't get what you wanted in life. And so you're kind of resorting to this closed economy where things are given to you if you just do their bidding, if you just kneel before Saturn. And for me, it's just like, I don't want what they're offering. I'm not interested in what they're offering. They always want me to like and partake in the hookers and blow. And it's again, I don't know what it is about Gen Xers, but they love that stuff. They love it. And they can't stop talking. Like every Gen X story is like a conquest story. It's like, for me, /r I had sex posting is the cringiest stuff. It's the most normie of normie story when you go on about your lay count or what slags cheeks you clapped, okay? It's just because people who flex that stuff openly and publicly are insecure about it. They're insecure about their experience level. People who are actually experienced, they keep that stuff on the down low. And people who throw it in your face or try to brag about it or try to hold it over other people's heads, they're deeply insecure about what they've had, and so they have to try and flex about it to make themselves feel better, because that's just what they're like, insecurity. There's a lot of insecurity in that realm. And then you realize how these Saturnian organizations are kind of everywhere. They're like open in plain sight, like all the different friendship clubs, the Kiwanis Club, Lions Club, all those types of activity-based organizations. I don't trust any of that stuff. And they all are openly admitted that they are a paramasonic organization. And to me, that's sus. So you won't see me hanging out in the Rotary Club. Like, what do boats have to do with friendship? I don't know. You tell me. What do white gloves have to do with a plumber? I don't know. You tell me. Something about it. But it's the Saturn. And then you could say, well, Abrahamic religions, do they worship Saturn? Somebody asked me that. Well, that's a lot of people. That's like billions of people. And I can't make a judgment call on everybody's heart and soul. So I do obviously see Saturnian symbolism within those religions. It's obvious, like the black robes. Okay, you got the Kaaba, you got the cube, the Jews put on their brain or their skull or their third eye, whatever you want to say it is. What's going on there, right? It's all there. But yeah, I'm gonna make a video about my thoughts on Christianity, a rant. But I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be honorable, and I'm not going to do what everybody else does about it. I'm just going to explain why, because a lot of people, I got a lot of Christian viewers for some reason, and a lot of them ask me, why I'm not Christian. So I'm going to actually explain why, not from a vitriolic stance where people are going about it these days, which is unfortunate, because I think there could be some dialogue that's not just evolving in what heritage Jesus has. I'm actually going to take it from a metaphysical standpoint. So we'll get to that. And so, again, they mock me, and that's when I realized what a lot of the symbolism is, what a lot of the Saturnian stuff is, what a lot of the Masonic stuff is, the Kabbalic stuff is, the stuff that's hidden in plain sight. For me, it's not in plain sight anymore. For me, they just like openly like give me the signs, and they shake my hand, and like they clasp my fingers, not my palm, because they want to mess around. They think it's funny. And they and I know what it is now, and all this stuff, it is mocking. All the hidden plain sight stuff, all the symbolism, all the predictive programming, all the Masonic play acts that are going on in society, all the plays, everything is like a play act. It's just a way to mock people, because they think like they have this like weird sense of humor where they think it's hilarious. They do have this weird, it's kind of like this weird boomer Masonic, like pranky type humor. They love that stuff. They think it's hilarious. It's just this weird old throwback type of humor, and they plaster it everywhere, and they are laughing a lot. I mean, mirth is king is one of their mottos. So they think this stuff is hilarious. I think it's like boomer tier cringe humor. The normies are the normies, the profane. I understand they're annoying. They think that mocking them, ruling over them, and hoarding everything for themselves is the way to go. There's been certain groups in the world who think that, maybe we can raise them up while at the same time raising ourselves up. It's not mutually exclusive. We can have a win-win relationship with the normies, right? But they don't view it that way. And I just don't, I don't like the cloak and dagger and the mocking. It's just not for me, right? I'm a very upfront guy. I try to be honorable. I try to be decent. There's just an aspect of me where at least I'm trying to be honorable. I only really care about being honorable to my own kin. If outside kin are honorable to me first, then I'll be honorable back to them. But if outside kin are dishonorable to me, and I'll be dishonorable to them as well. I mean, I think that's more of a heathen pagan way of looking at life. Turning the other cheek, no thanks. Well, guys, thank you for watching, for listening. Let me know what you think about the Saturnian elements of society, the boomers, the Gen Xers. Are we witnessing a Olympian rebellion against the Titanic overlords that are our Saturnian principles in this society of grinding and 9 to 5? The Olympian, solar, Uranian millennials overcoming the telluric, Pelasgian boomers. Let me know. Have a good one.